This is Missions Pulse on Family Life. Mondays during the Noon Report, we spotlight ministries that are making a difference where you live, across the country, and around the world. This week, we're spotlighting the Delta Lake Christian Conference Center in Rome, New York. Steve Clark is the camp director. 101 years of ministry. Steve, 1924, I believe, is the year when the first tent meetings happened there in Rome, New York. Got to ask you, not a lot of ministries have that kind of staying power. To what do you attribute Delta Lake's longevity?
A lot of family connections, people who have history that maintain and nurture that history, people who have come, who've had life-changing experiences, and that becomes the pattern of ongoing in their family tradition, if you will. Mm-hmm. But it's also a case of new generations coming in to experience what it means to encounter Christ in a off-the-way place. By that I mean out of the normal context of home life, coming to a spot that is away from the hustle and bustle of life, giving you an opportunity to just develop a fresh sense of the presence of God in an outdoor context where people can be friendly and gracious and hospitable to one another.
Yeah. When I was working as a camp counselor at Delta, we used to sleep in the Army surplus tents that existed. Now people have these $100,000 RVs. So things have changed a lot when it comes to camping. But I got to ask you, is Christian camping as big a deal today as it was 25, 50 years ago? Talk about how you have had to get creative as far as a camp director in keeping camping alive and well in our culture today.
For us, family camp is a 1-week experience out of the summer. We have youth camps that go for about 6 weeks and guest groups that take up much of the year's calendar. Mm-hmm. We take a break only for a few weeks at holiday times, but otherwise we are on a full tilt year-round schedule of ministry. So for us, camping is a 12-month-a-year opportunity. Now, you asked the question about RVs. Yes, we see a prevalence of them today. The bigger ones more than the small pop-ups or tent campers that were more prevalent, let's say, 25 to 50 years ago. So now we're into fifth wheels and that kind of thing. So it's more the size and the amenities of what camping brings is what we're experiencing today. Yeah. Does that mean there's less? No. It's just a different style. People want accommodations that are a little more upscale. The days of rustic Army surplus tents are pretty much gone. Okay. You're showing your age when you mention that, Bob.
To me, that's camping, though. That's real
I understand.
Camping.
But today, and that may be why the names begin to change, people are looking for more of a ministry experience that broadens or deepens them on a spiritual level and connects them with others and friends and people that they will get to know. So when we talk about a 12-month-a-year experience, that means we've got to have accommodations that can weather the winter and provide air conditioning in the summer. Yeah. Very different from the summer tenting experience. Can't do much in tents in the wintertime when you have feet and feet of snow.
And if you've ever been to Rome, New York, you know they can get snow occasionally up there. But I'll tell you this, you mentioned the youth camps, and I was talking to the president of Child Evangelism Fellowship recently about reaching young people with the gospel. And the summer is just a unique time, a prime time. I met Jesus through a backyard Bible club in the summer, and I know that's a big part of a lot of people's experiences is Christian summer camping. But we live in a social media generation now, Steve. How are you able to continue to reach young people for Christ when there's all these digital distractions around them?
I think the best answer is you don't try to overwhelm it or negate it. You try to work around it. You have to be much more realistic about who your audience is, and that means you have to find ways to create an experience that is unique, that is not just a touch back to 100 years ago, but is realistic to where life is today. Now, for our youth camps, we actually require the kids to give up their cell phones. That may be a challenge to some, but we found that it's really beneficial for them to say, this is a place to get away from the pace of the world and to walk away from the normal things of home in order to create an abnormal place where God can talk to my heart.
Yeah. I wonder, Steve, how many of those kids at the end of that week of not having their cell phone say, boy, that was a bad idea. I bet you not many, do they?
Not many. And you know something? Public schools are finding the same thing has to be true. Mm-hmm. We live in an AI world. Yeah. That's the reality out there, but that doesn't mean that has to be what we're doing in here.
Yeah. Steve Clark is our guest today, director of Delta Lake Bible Conference Center in Rome, New York. And Steve, your son, my college roommate, convinced me to come up to Rome, New York, and God introduced me to my wife there, and it's where I rededicated my life to Christ, right at the altar in the youth tab. So Delta Lake is a very special place in my heart. But for those listeners who are hearing this for the first time and don't know anything about Delta Lake, what do you want them to know about this unique Christian camping experience that has existed for over a century there in Rome, New York?
We were created as a means of expanding camp meeting ministry in a movement that was missions-oriented, deeper spiritual life-oriented 100 years ago. We may have changed the way we do programs. We may have expanded the kinds of programs, but we haven't changed our message or adjusted our emphasis. Our mission remains the same, and that is welcoming guests to encounter Jesus. I think that it's having touchstones that are clear to your core, that are important if you're going to carry it forward. It's not trying to adjust the central message. It's trying to flex in a way that helps people live in today's society while they are encountering the one who is timeless and changeless.
That is Steve Clark, director of the Delta Lake Christian Conference Center in Rome, New York, for this week's edition of Missions Pulse. Mondays during the Noon Report, we spotlight ministries that are making a difference where you live, across the country, and around the world.